Winter is still alive and well here in New Hampshire, but I decided after the holidays it was finally time to take down the wreaths from the back door and the front door. Hey everybody, it's Laurel here. Welcome back. It's been a little bit since I've done an actual video for YouTube, so I just want to thank you all for being here. And another thing that I really want to thank you for, and I really appreciate, in case you haven't noticed, I am an absolute novice at video editing. So this is a big learning curve for me. I did not grow up with tech, but I am just being kind to myself and just learning as I go. So I thank you for hanging in with me and being graceful and allowing me to just make my mistakes and kind of doggedly move my way towards getting more proficient. So every day we learn, and we all start off as beginners in anything that we do, don't you think? So with that said, um, winter is here. It is here in New Hampshire. It's here to stay for a while, at least 2 months. And I felt like, it's time to start doing a little bit of pre-spring cleaning, but also editing in the house as well, in Sulky House. And this video today is actually about creating and bringing beauty into the home after the holidays, after the decorations have been put away, but you feel like I still like a little something bright, something that's just going to be pleasing to look at. And last night's short that I uploaded was about different vignettes that I have in my home. And vignettes are just, it's what it is like placing objects or finding objects of different shapes, sizes, colors, pattern that you put together in a pleasing way that just feels to the senses aesthetically pleasing. And I do a lot of things on my mantle, but I'll also do something on a table stand or on a coffee table or on a shelf. The sky is the limit. I always kind of say that. So what I thought of today is I'm going to show you some of the things that I've just created to brighten up, bring a little life into certain spots of the home that are just pleasing to the eye. So they themselves are objects of art, and it's easy to create, and anybody can do them with things that you find that you already have. That you might have stored for a while and you pull out, because that's what I do as a thrifter, a consigner, who loves to go antique shopping, who's an artist, all of those things. I tend to collect. I've said before, I'm a maximalist. So I have a lot of things in my house, but I try to judiciously curate things so it doesn't look like overwhelm, or dare I say hoarding. So that's the vibe that I like to create for my home. And again, it runs on a spectrum. People can be very minimalist. They like quiet spaces, open spaces. But even with that, you can still take a few objects, place somewhere where the eye just sees it, and visually it comes and just pleases the soul and the senses. So let's get started. So the first thing that I created, even though the holidays are over, I feel we have 2 more months, I think, of winter, pretty much. We're supposed to be getting a storm actually this weekend. So anyway, I digress. I went to Michael's yesterday and I bought the 70% off things from leftover holiday, Christmas, all of that. And I think that's a great resource. Michael's, Hobby Lobby, any of those. We're on the East Coast, so that's what we tend to have here, but any of those stores where they have the deep discounts. So I got some Christmas picks or holiday picks, and I figured let's use them in a different way that doesn't scream Christmas per se, but can create like a nice visual, still kind of winter feel. So what I did was I got some fairy lights, which I absolutely love. I love fairy lights. They're not very cheap. I've come to find out. This 18 strand was $5.99, and I got some of, and everything else was 70% off. So I got the little scented cinnamon baby pine cones, and then a couple of these little Christmas sprigs here. One of the things I like about the fake flowers, the fake packs things, is that they've come a long way. So it does have a realistic feel, and I can really hopefully turn it any way that I would like, and it would still be visually appealing. So all I did was I placed the fairy lights in with the batteries on a timer and filled up with the pine cones so that you don't see that mechanism under there. And then I just stuck the sprigs in a bell jar, you know. So to me, it creates kind of a country look. And I'm going to show you what I did, and I'll show you something about editing. So I'm going to bring it over to where I'm going to place it. And this is right over here in this little kitchen corner. So I have my apples and my oranges, and I have my bowls, and I have my little pine cone in my little cup there. And then I was going to put it in this little corner. Now see what happens. I still have these pens. These pens are here all the time. But sometimes when you want to curate something and make it look visually appealing, you have to edit. So I'm going to take this away, and now I'll place it where I wanted, maybe move this a little bit, and you can see how much better that looks. I put the pens there where they always are, and it disrupts the whole scene. So taking these away creates that vignette that's visually appealing with the colors, with the height of this in comparison to this little bowl, and then we graduate up. It just creates a nice visual. Now the next thing that I wanted to show you was this little vase that I got at an antique store in the next town over. And it's just a silver plated, not very expensive at all, vase. That's what I want to call that. And what I did was I took a candle. Well, actually what I did was I bought some foam. I bought some circular foam, and I placed that in. But before I did, I twisted the candle in so that I knew that it would fit once I put the foam in the vase. And then I put that candle in, and then I took some moss that comes in a bag. I got that at Michael's as well. And then just some artificial sprigs. And I just stuck that into the foam as well. And if you find you have a vase, something like this, you want to try this, and maybe you cut the foam like I did a little bit too small so it fell right down in, I just filled this up with some bubble wrap, and then I placed the foam on top of that, put the candle in, and then just decorated accordingly. And so this would brighten up a nice little spot, like just on a little side table. Don't forget to blow out your candle after you're done, or you could just put it on your table that you eat at. And it doesn't scream holiday. It's just a nice visual winter decoration. And lastly, we can also bring in live plants. Yesterday, I was looking for bulbs to force and grow indoors, and nobody has them here. And I'm not one for ordering online. I still like to buy locally, and I like to pick up things and look at things and touch them. So I tend to not buy online unless I absolutely have to for most things. So terrines, I got this at the same antique store. I think I paid $18 for it, and it did come with its cover. And I just love the pattern. It's so delicate. It's just a beautiful little terrine, but I'm not going to use it for food. I know that I never would. So what I did was I was at Lowe's. I needed batteries, and I went there, but I got some live plants in the ivy here. And oh, I forget what this one's called. I apologize. Any plant person will know, but I don't know, I have to say. What about drainage? If you're going to put live plants in, that's a good question. There are no drainage holes in here. So I just took some pea stone that I had left over from working out in the yard, in the garden, and I put that on the bottom, then some potting soil, then some of the moss, and well, not the moss yet, but I put the plants in, arranged them accordingly, put the moss in, and then added a few of the leftover just artificial plant sprigs inside. And this in itself, I'm going to keep this on the dining table that we have here. I'm going to change out my tablecloth and runner and just really just freshen the look with something live. And this, guys, is really, again, I always say pennies on the dollar, but you don't have to break the bank and you don't have to buy something that's already done. You possess the power to go out and just spend as much as you like or as little as you like. Maybe you even have something at home that you could use for a container that if you're looking around like, oh, I never even thought of that. You know, baskets, just little wooden objects, you know, not shelves, but troughs, things like that. Again, it's just something that I find so beautiful and not expensive, and you can brighten up your winter just so easily by just using the imagination, putting a little bit of artistic effort in. And sometimes when we're just feeling kind of blah, it's nice to have a little project that we can do easily. We don't have to have all kinds of artistic skills to do this. It's just easy to do. And I hope that you got something out of this video. Again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time in the next video, please, as always, just take the best of care. So long.